Starting my own first business at 12, mowing lawns, was more than just about earning pocket money. It was my first foray into the world of entrepreneurship, teaching me the essentials of hard work, customer relations, and the value of earning your own way. That initial step laid the groundwork for my entrepreneurial spirit. Transitioning to MMA at 13 wasn't just a shift to a new sport. It was a deep dive into a world that demanded discipline, focus, and resilience. These years were formative, instilling in me a mindset that would prove invaluable in facing life's various challenges. Building concrete walls starting at 14, I learned not only about construction, but about the importance of having a solid foundation in each endeavor. This experience taught me about persistence, having attention to detail, and the sense of achievement that comes from a job well done and seeing a physical representation of your hard work. We built hundreds of feet of walls. So saving and buying my first computer at 14 years old wasn't just about acquiring a certain piece of technology. It was about a step towards the future that I wanted to build. My dad's words echo in my mind saying, "Hey Kyle, don't just play Age of Empires on that, but learn how to use the technology." It represented and was the first stepping stone to my commitment to learning, exploring, and eventually leading in the digital world. When I was 15, I started going to a different church than the one I grew up in. And it was more of a shift than a shift in spiritual scenery. It was more, we went from a Presbyterian church to a Baptist church. It was a profound lesson in the importance of exploring different viewpoints and embracing the change in all aspects of life and setting the future stage for future adaptability. I would go on to be part of a Pentecostal church, a Christian Reformed denomination, and Reformed denominations today. So when I started offering landscaping services at 16, it wasn't just an expansion of my lawn mowing business. It was an early lesson in understanding what the market needs, scaling a business, and the importance of customer satisfaction in any successful venture. When I started attending community college at 17, I was taught that education went beyond academic learning. It was a period of self-discovery, understanding what my capabilities were, and preparing for the challenges in the real world. Like one, getting up on time, 7 o'clock classes will teach you that, 7 a.m. classes. Man, that was something else. It was fun. Taking 25 credits in a quarter, that'll increase your workload dramatically. So then transferring to Dordt College, which is in Iowa from Seattle, where I grew up, wasn't just a geographical move. It was an opportunity to step out of my comfort zone, to adapt to new social and educational settings, moving from a town of 200,000 people, 180,000 people in Kent, to a town of 10,000 people with 2,000 people on campus in Sioux Center, rural Iowa. That was an opportunity that I had to learn to thrive in different environments and future shaping my adaptability. Working in maintenance post-college wasn't just simply about fixing things. It taught me about the practical side of work life, the importance of taking care of details, practical details, and the satisfaction of solving real-world problems. I majored in philosophy, so I felt like everything was theoretical at the time. And then moving into maintenance, everything became very practical. So after I worked maintenance, I worked for a few months as a daily support professional working with social services. And it wasn't just merely employment, it was a deep dive into human empathy, understanding where somebody came from, what their life story was, and understanding the diverse life experiences and the profound fulfillment that comes from making a positive impact on other people's lives. I remember one person, let's call him John, but John had a lot of struggles in daily life. He would hardly walk. We had to use a gait belt with him. But what he did was, what I learned about him was he loved to wash dishes. Now he did 3/4 of a job and would hand me the dish when it was still dirty, and I would just hand it back to him and say it's not done yet. but to see him light up when he finished a dish, that level of satisfaction can't be understated. So after moving on from being working as a daily support professional in the social work settings, I went through a variety of different factories, from a cheese factory, cheese production, building 550-pound blocks and 40-pound blocks of cheese, to an electric motor assembly plant where I focused on press operations, where I had to deal with precision down to the thousandth of an inch. It was about gaining a versatile skill set, understanding the different work cultures, and the ability to quickly adapt and excel in different varied environments. We were constantly working different positions at the cheese factory, from when you're starting off the cheese to when you're finishing out the cheese, right? So different places along the way. After working in the motor plant for a while, I got into newspaper ad sales. That taught me not only about the art of selling, but also understanding what people and businesses need, how to communicate effectively, and the crucial role of adapting your approach to different customers. After selling newspapers for over half a year, I moved into leading a copywriting team, serving as a copywriter to a multi-million-dollar blog that generated leads for a local online course, teaching people how to build local websites and other things. But that was an exercise in leadership, in creativity, and handling different team dynamics remotely. You're not talking with them directly. We had several Zoom meetings, but most of the time it was over some kind of chat, whether that was Slack, whether that was Facebook message, whether that was Skype. There's a lot of different remote experiences there, from being working asynchronously, where you're not all working at the same time, but you're still working towards the same goal. After serving there for a couple of years, I worked as an SEO specialist, working remotely for an agency out of Seattle, which worked out well for me because I like to sleep in a little bit. Starting work around 10 was nice because it's a 2-hour time difference between here in Iowa versus Seattle, right? So my role as an SEO specialist was more than just optimizing websites. It was about understanding the digital ecosystem, staying ahead of the trends that were coming down the pipe, and adapting to search engine algorithm updates. And then using innovative strategies such as accelerated content development, which you can message me about, and I'm happy to talk about it for you and get you on the right path. But using those innovative strategies to make real impacts in the digital visibility of the local businesses. I remember a local business that we helped. It was a moving company. We started with them probably 18 months ago, and we've 10x'd the words in the top 3 rankings. We went from having 40 words in the top 3 to having over 440. So creating over 3,500 local business websites over the past 2 years represents not just a number in my mind, but a journey in learning customer service. I had to create a ticket system, had to build out certain SOPs or standard operating procedures for team members to answer those tickets. So it's not all just on me. Adapting to different businesses' needs. We've built sites in over 150 different niches, and continuously refining the craft of copywriting, because each niche kind of has its own way of speak to it. And then working with different cultures. Most of my team now is based over in the Philippines, and they're 12-hour time difference, right? So you learn different cultures, different ways you need to coach people in different locales. So in 2023, we helped a nonprofit cut their hosting fees by 50%. It wasn't simply a cost-saving exercise. It was using my skills for social good, contributing to a cause, and understanding the broader impact that my technical expertise can have. That's why I'm working on more of my recent activities of creating GPTs, of developing that for influencers as well as local nonprofits, which dives into the next piece. Building custom GPTs for influencers and nonprofits hasn't been just a technical task over the past few months. It's involved understanding unique needs, creative problem solving, like, okay, how do you get the data initially, and how do you serve it up to the AI so that it understands it, and then how do you get it to and encourage people to interact with the AI in a way that's helpful to and accelerates the goals for that organization. When I was 13 through 17, I I participated in a martial arts program 4 to 5 nights a week. Earning each belt in my martial arts journey was a process of continuous learning, physical and mental conditioning, and a step-by-step progression in a discipline that taught me as much about life as it did about martial arts. You need to keep going, whether when it's difficult. When you're doing 5 minutes straight of leg lifts, and you know that you're gonna have to do that, or you're doing 12 sets of Tabatas where you sprint for 30 seconds as fast as you can, then you have a 10-second rest, and you repeat that anywhere between 8 to 12 times, and you know it's coming because you've done it the past 3 days, that teaches us a form of mental resilience that you don't get from most other places. Each website I build is more than just a digital space. It's a partnership with an agency or a business owner where I understand their vision for what their business is, and then I have to connect that with what the search engine wants to see in order to show that website when somebody searches for a given keyword phrase. If somebody searches for tree service Seattle, the search engine's already scanned a bunch of websites that have to do with tree service in Seattle. So how do you encourage a certain website to be seen over others? That's the mission and the vision of search engine optimization. When I joined martial arts at 13, I was told that I run weird by a guy who'd been there for 5 years, ran through the children's program, and he had just joined the teenage program, which I was a part of. That was a journey where I demanded self-acceptance because I couldn't really adapt my running style too much because that's the way I'd run for years. I'd been running with my dad jogging for several years prior to that. And what that taught me was that our unique quirks can be our strengths. It taught me to embrace my individuality and use it to my advantage in competitions as well as life, because people weren't used to seeing things that way, and so they wouldn't be expecting certain things from my style. At 16 years old, my cousin gave me his old truck, his 1989 Chevy S10. And that was more than just a mode of transport for me. It was a step towards independence, because I just got my driver's license at the time, and physical representation of the entrepreneurial journey I was on. That truck enabled me to haul concrete rubble from different areas, manure up the steepness of James Hill. If you've ever been in Kent, you know how basically vertical that is, and the truck barely made it. Going 25 in a 35 mile an hour zone with people honking behind you, that's fun. But basically, it was a physical representation of the entrepreneurial journey I was embarking on, a journey that would take me from lawns into digital landscapes. Each job that I took on, from maintenance work to factory roles, it wasn't just about earning a paycheck. It was about gaining a diverse array of experiences. My dad said, you got to work these jobs because then you'll learn why you don't want to work them forever. Each one of those taught me something valuable about work, life, and the importance of being adaptable. My path from lawn mowing to building a successful digital business has not always been straightforward. It's been a journey filled with learning, adaptation, and continuous evolution of my skills and ambitions, always striving towards greater heights. Today, we've moved from simply building websites to building our own hosting platform and having over 900 websites published on that, with 4,000 that are in the queue. So we're continually moving forward.